Alright, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we're going to be doing a little segment that I do once in a while, sometimes, teams that are hot and not. So I'm going to talk about some of the teams that have been streaking, trending upwards, and some of the teams that have been on the other end, trending downwards. That's what we're talking about here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. Like to turn all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So the first team we're going to start with that is hot is the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks, they've won 5 games in a row. They've won 8 of their last 9. They've jumped all the way up. They're 25-17, sitting at fourth in the Eastern Conference, and things have been very, very good for them. Of course, since the NCAA tournament, after they won the NBA Cup, they kind of went a little bit losing. Dame and Giannis missed a little bit of time, but look at us, their last couple games. Like they've been getting some really good wins. They've been really dominant on the offensive end as well. Looking at their this 9 game stretch where they've won 8 of them, beat the Raptors, the Spurs, the Magic. Not very hard game. Lost to the Knicks. That was the only loss they had. But then these last 5 games, they beat the Kings. They destroyed the Magic, beat the Raptors again, Sixers, and last night got a good win over Miami. Not the hardest schedule, but wins are wins. And recently they've been dominating. Giannis has just been doing his thing. Damian Lillard has really stepped up. You know, Dame has been kind of fluctuating a little bit throughout the season, but over these last couple games, he has been really hot. Gary Trent Jr. had a big night last night against Miami. And yeah, they just been, I mean, look at the offensive end. The last 5 games, they scored 130, 122, 130, 123, 125. Like, they've really stepped it up. I mean, over this 9 game stretch, they've scored over 120 points in 7 of those games. So their offense is really taking like a big, big jump, and they're scoring at an amazing rate right now. And yeah, I mean, there's been some reports recently about them being in on the trade market and stuff. So who knows what this team will look like past the trade deadline? If Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton, guys like those will be on the team. But right now they're hooping. I mean, they're hooping. They're playing very well. They're still a team you have to respect, and could be one of those scary teams in the East when getting to the playoff time. Even though they might not have the top record in the Eastern Conference or anything like that, having Giannis and Dame, especially the way they both are playing right now, I don't think anybody wants to face those two guys in a playoff series. So yeah, those two are playing really good. The Bucks in general are playing very well. Their offense has been elite, and yeah, they're creeping up into that, trying to cement themselves into that top four, top three in the Eastern Conference. Now, a team we're going to talk about that is not hot, is staying in the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia 76ers. The 76ers have currently lost 7 games in a row. They've lost 10 of their last 12. They are 15-27 right now, sitting at 11th in the Eastern Conference. We all know the Sixers have just been derailed with a lot of things this year. Injuries have been a huge thing this season. They have just not been able to really get consistent playing time together. Joel Embiid has a is it a knee injury or ankle injury? I forgot which one that he's gonna miss a little bit of time. Um, because I have a lot of players like Caleb Lamar and Andre Drummond, a lot of role players that are injured, and it's just really tough for them right now. I mean, it's tough when I mean Tyrese Maxey. I love Tyrese Maxey. He's really good, but it's really tough to watch when Tyrese Maxey's the only guy out there that can do anything. I mean, they've lost 10 of their last 12 games. It's been really bad. They just got 144 points put up by the Denver Nuggets the other day. Lost to the Bucks, lost to the Pacers. Brought the Knicks to overtime in a good game, but they lost that one. Lost to OKC, lost to Orlando, lost to New Orleans, lost to Phoenix, lost to Sacramento, lost to Golden State. They've just been bad since January 1st. They've only won 2 games, and that was right after their 4 game win streak where they beat the Spurs, beat the Celtics, they had a couple wins, and it was like, okay, here come the Sixers, here they come, and they have just fallen flat, back down. And now it's very interesting because right now we're about to be at the end of February, at the end of January, about to be into February. You're 10 plus games under 500. You still can make the play in the Eastern Conference, but it's not a guarantee right now. And you have so many injury problems and all this stuff going on. They also have to worry about their own draft pick. They have a draft pick that is top 6 protected. And if it falls below 7, it goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder again, because why not, right? And so if you're the 76ers, Daryl Morey, you really have to start making some decisions right now. Where you're like, all right, do we keep going with this? Do we just hope that injury luck gets on our side, even though it's never been on our side, really? Do we just hope that Joel comes back at some point and we just get a couple wins and hope that maybe the Chicago Bulls sell some players and stuff, and maybe we could sneak in as a 9 seed and try to win 2 games and go through all this gauntlet to make the plan just to lose to the Cavaliers or the Celtics in the first round? You know? Do we do that? Or maybe do we sell a little bit and just try to kind of fold on this season? Sell some of the older guys like Caleb Martin and all this stuff. Sell some of the role players that are playing really well. Well, maybe not playing well, but sell some of these role players. Try to get off some salary. Joel, you could just sit. Joel, if you're not 100% healthy, just sit. Paul George, if you're not 100% healthy, you can sit too. Just when you want to play, you can, but you don't have to really force it right now. And let's just sell and try everything in our power to hold on to that top six protected pick, which is kind of very unlikely because right now, if you look at it, they have, let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eighth. Right now, they have the eighth best odds, which is not horrible, but also you have to think about the teams they're gonna have to catch on the bottom is gonna be the Brooklyn Nets, who obviously are selling right now and they're doing a great job of it. The Charlotte Hornets, the Toronto Raptors, the Wizards, the Jazz, the Pelicans. So like the only team I think realistically you can catch is New Orleans Pelicans in the tanking. But besides that, it's gonna be tough to catch those teams tanking wise, and at the most you might end up with the seventh best odds. Which at that point you're just gonna have to hope that the lottery, is in your favor and the balls get to your side. So it's a tough decision to make. Like, do we go in and just say, you know what, we did what we got to do. Let's try to make the play in, or let's give ourselves at least a 1% puncher's chance. Because if Joel Embiid is healthy by playoff time, he's gonna be the best player on the court in a series against the Celtics or a series against the Cavaliers. So if you have the best player on the court, you have a little bit of a puncher's chance to potentially win that series somehow. With the talent you have. But do we risk all that just to get another playoff appearance and get another first round exit on our books? Or do we just say, you know what, this season's just not going our way. Let's just sell it all. Well, not at all, but let's just take a step back, try to get this top six pick, get another good rookie next year, and let's just try again next year, I guess. So, yeah, it's a very interesting decision for the 76ers coming up. Next team we're going to talk about that is hot is the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets have currently won 4 games in a row. They've won 12 of their last 15 games. They're sitting at 20 and 16, fourth in the Western Conference. They have really gotten together after a start where they're just hovering around 500. It was really just Jokic doing everything, and it was like, dang, are the Nuggets really contenders or not? They've gotten together since December 28th. Since December 28th, they're 12-3 and they've been playing some really good basketball. Just got on a good 4 game win streak right now. They beat Miami, Orlando, Philly, Sacramento last night. Nikola Jokic has been on absolute fire recently with I think 5 straight games or a triple double in less than a certain amount of time. Like he's just been on it. But yeah, this Nuggets team, I mean, they're starting to get it together. I mean, they're top 4 in the Western Conference right now. Um, Trending towards contention. Contention, Nikola Jokic is averaging a triple double, doing his thing. But it's been the other guys that are stepping up. Jamal Murray has really stepped up. He had that 45-point outburst against Dallas, and since then he's averaging about 20 something points per game. Michael Porter Jr. is doing anything. Russell Westbrook, got to give a whole lot of credit to Russell Westbrook. Since being in the starting lineup, the Nuggets have been winning games. Like Aaron Gordon comes off the bench now because Russell Westbrook has been so impactful to this offense and to the starting lineup. Like him and Jokic just have one of the best 2-man games in the league. That it's hard not to play Russ on the court right now. So yeah, they've just been playing really good. Their defense has really stepped up a whole lot. Their defense was really really shaky early in the year. Had some bad moments, but they're starting to pick it up and get it together. Some of the role players are starting to pick it up and get it together, and slowly they're turning the tide a little bit and looking more and more like the Denver Nuggets of old that we know that are very dangerous and can be a contender for whenever they want to be. So it's just really not good to see the Nuggets kind of step up, get into this mode right now. Shout out to Russell Westbrook, Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic obviously doing his thing. And they've been hot. I mean, they've been hot. Look at them right now. I mean, they're top 4 in the Western Conference. A couple games above the 5 seed Lakers, right in the mix right now with Houston and Memphis for that 2 and 3 spot too. So the Nuggets can be setting themselves up for a very good seeding situation. In the Western Conference this year, they've been playing some really, really great basketball recently. The Orlando Magic. Magic have lost 5 games in a row. They lost 7 of their last 8. They've dropped all the way down to 23-23, seventh in the Western Conference. I mean, obviously, we knew how good they were without Paolo and Franz. They were doing such a good job of keeping pace. But now things are starting to come down to earth. Paolo's back. Franz returned yesterday and had a pretty solid game. But the offense is just really bad. for the Magic. I mean, they're one of the worst. They're probably the worst 3-point shooting team in the NBA. Historically, one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the league this year, and it's just really tough, man. I mean, Paolo has had his moments since coming back. There's just no spacing on this court really, and it's really tough to win when you have no spacing, and it's just really tough right now. I mean, Jalen Suggs also has missed a couple of games due to injury. Anthony Black is a 25% 3-point shooter. KCP has been really struggling to shoot the ball this year, which really sucks because that was like their guy that was supposed to. If anything was going wrong, at least KCP was gonna knock down a couple shots, and he hasn't been able to knock down a couple shots, shooting 31% from three. Tristan DeSilva shooting 31% from three. Cole Anthony 30%. Jonathan Isaac 24%. Trevelin Queen 30%. Jett Howard 32%. Like they just don't have any consistent 3-point shooting and spacing that you respect on this team. And so it's just saying, all right, Paolo, you're gonna get triple teamed every time because we know Anthony Black, go ahead, you can shoot all the corner threes you want. Tristan Silva, go ahead, you can shoot. Jonathan Isaac, go ahead. Like we don't care, you can shoot that ball. And yeah, just the offense has really struggled over this little stretch. I mean, looking at some of these games, I mean, 79 points last night on the Portland Trailblazers. Like that's tough. 93 points out of these 5 games losing streak. They've only scored 100 once. That was against the Nuggets, where they just barely scored 100 and lost that game. But it's been 93, 94, 93. Had a game winning 89 against Minnesota, 92 against the Utah Jazz. Like their offense has just not been easy to come by. And while they still are an amazing defensive team, we don't have the offense to kind of back it up, or at least a little bit of offense. It's really tough to stop teams in the NBA right now. So the Magic, it's just the offense has really been struggling. Hopefully they can get it back together at some point. Cause it's gonna be really hard to see the Magic in the play-in right now. Like it's really tough. It's gonna be really tough to see the Magic in the play-in, especially after everybody's back and they're healthy. It's gonna be really tough. But hopefully it's just a cold stretch, and hopefully the Magic can get some sort of offense going. Hopefully when Paolo and Franz kind of find their rhythm again when they're, in a couple games, and maybe that can set everything else up with Jalen Suggs. Hopefully he's back because he's a big part of this team as well. But yeah, it's just the offense has just been really struggling. We're on our last 2 teams. Our last team that is hot is the New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans have won 4 games in a row. They won 5 of their last 6. They've leapfrogged the Utah Jazz, as they're not the worst team in the West right now. They're the 14th seed in the West. Um, yeah, they won 4 games in a row. They beat the Bulls, the Mavericks. They beat the Jazz twice in a row. They beat the 76ers the other day. Gave the Celtics all they could before losing by 1 point. And yeah, they're starting to get healthy. Zion is back, and DeJounte Murray's playing well, and CJ McCollum is on an absolute heater right now. He definitely has to get traded. What does this mean? Nothing. This hot streak means nothing to them. They're still 20 games under 500, and they're still, let's see how many games they are back of the play-in officially. They are still 10 games out of the play-in. So, yeah, unless they're gonna go on a 15-game win streak or anything like that, this probably doesn't mean anything. But what this means, not for maybe the season, but for the future, is CJ McCollum's value is at the highest it's been right now. So definitely gotta trade CJ McCollum right now, get some value back for him. Zion Williamson, I like what I see from Zion since he's been back. Like he's been playing good ball, and it's just tough because I feel like I always talk myself back into Zion Williamson, and then he gets injured and he misses 30 games, and it's like, dang, like it really sucks because I love like this version of Zion is really good right now, but I don't want to get too invested in it because you can know at any second it could be Zion has a hamstring injury and he's out for 2 to 4 weeks. That turns into 2 months, you know. But Zion is playing good ball right now. Trey Murphy is playing great right now, averaging about 20 something points per game. He's showing that he could be one of the future pieces of this team, which is why maybe you get a little more comfortable with trading off Brandon Ingram, who I haven't seen Brandon Ingram play in who knows how long. So yeah, maybe I mean this could set things up for the trade deadline, the market there where some of these guys are playing really well. You can send them off, and maybe looking at the future, like okay, Zion and Trey Murphy is our future right now, and Zion looks like he can be a really good player when he's on the court, and he's on the court right now. So I guess there's some good and some things to take out of it, but right now, realistically, in terms of competing this season, I don't think it changed anything unless they go on like a crazy win streak where they win like 15 of their next 17 games, and all of a sudden they're like in the 12th seed, 3 games behind the Phoenix Suns for the 10 seed, like something like that. But realistically, I don't think it's just changing anything for this season. The final team we're going to talk about, a team that is not hot. The Washington Wizards have lost 12 games in a row. I didn't even want to put them on here, but they have the longest losing streak in the league. Kind of have to mention them. This is their second losing streak of 10 plus games. They lost 16 games in a row from November to early December. Then they were decent. Then they won 4 games. And then it was like, okay, not in a row, but they won 4 games. It's like, okay. And now they've lost 12 in a row. They haven't won a game since January 1st, where they beat the Bulls. But since then, they've been losing. And that's what they're supposed to do. Yeah, I don't really know what more to say about this. I mean, they're 6-37, putting themselves in a great position to get Cooper Flag and get that number 1 overall pick. You know, Jordan Poole is playing well. See that? Trade Kyle Kuzma. I've been preaching that this year. Trade Kyle Kuzma because I want to see Bilal Coulibaly ball more. Alex Sarr is playing better. Alex Sarr is looking better as the season progressed, which is a really inspiring thing. You know, his offense looks a lot better. He's shooting the ball pretty well. So you get that. But yeah, that's all really you gotta say. I mean, the Wizards are supposed to be bad. They're supposed to be the worst team in the league, and they are doing that with flying colors right now with another 12-game losing streak. Um, let's see how many. Like I said early in the year, like I legitimately don't know how the Wizards are gonna get to like 10 wins. They're at 6 wins right now, about to be in February, so they're gonna get to 10. But we're probably gonna win like 12 games, 13 games, maybe a 13 and 69 season, 12 and 70, potentially even type of year. But yeah, I mean they're garbage and they're supposed to be garbage. So capture the flag. But yeah, it's gonna be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.